A warm welcome to all of you watching Rwanda Television to this edition of the news. My name is Sarishan Hore. First, the headlines. Rwanda's Prime Minister has received the Assistant Director General of the International Labour Organization. The governments of Rwanda and Kenya have signed a memorandum of understanding aimed at facilitating the importation of refined petroleum products through the Northern Corridor trade route. And on the international scene, 6 adults have been confirmed killed after a shooting at a youth welfare center in northern Germany. Now straight to the details. Thank you again for taking the time to join us for this edition. Now, on Monday afternoon, Prime Minister Justin Nsengiyumva received Fanfa Gwanyundo Kairangwa, the Assistant Director General and Regional Director for Africa of the International Labour Organization. Their discussions focused on further strengthening the partnership between Rwanda and the ILO to advance employment skills, development, and inclusive economic growth. Now, as we noted in the headlines, Rwanda and Kenya have signed a cooperation agreement on the transportation and storage of refined petroleum products, a move expected to significantly increase the volume of petroleum products imported into Rwanda through the Northern Corridor. Now, Kenya's Cabinet Secretary for Energy and Petroleum, Opiyo Wandayi, confirmed that the agreement will allow Rwanda to use Kenya's energy infrastructure to transport and store refined petroleum products.
Today, Kenya and Rwanda have signed 3 documents. And these are the Memorandum of Understanding, the Tripartite Agreement, and the Transport and Storage Agreement, fully opening the Northern Corridor to Rwanda for the import of bulk refined petroleum products under Rwanda's government-to-government arrangements. Kenya is therefore putting its pipeline, its port of Mombasa, and its people at the service of Rwanda's energy security. That is what we celebrate today.
Rwanda's Minister of Trade and Industry, Antoine-Marie Kajangwe, explained that the agreement forms part of the country's strategy to diversify its trade routes, noting that the Central Corridor will also continue to be utilized.
Our intention has always been, of course, being a landlocked country, to optimize logistics corridors. We recognize the importance of the port of Dar es Salaam and the Central Corridor to our import framework, and that is a framework and a corridor that is important and we will continue to utilize. But it's also equally important that we grow and improve the logistics corridor in the north. And so we're building on the logistical efficiency that Kenya has developed, has built. The port infrastructure is extremely important, extremely efficient in Mombasa, and we're looking forward to utilizing those efficiency gains to benefit our local private sector and our citizens.
Now, the agreement is expected to increase the volume of petroleum products transported through the Northern Corridor to 500,000 cubic meters annually, 10 times the current figure. This follows discussions held between the 2 countries back in November 2024, when a Kenyan delegation visited Rwanda to discuss the initiative. Now, Rwanda's Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Ambassador Olivier Nduhungirehe, has told the French television channel France 24 that the claims by the government of the Democratic Republic of the Congo that it is eradicating the terrorist group that calls itself the FDLR have yielded no results. He pointed out that instead, the DRC continues to violate the peace agreements it signed, while also targeting its own civilian population. Minister Nduhungirehe is in France, where on Tuesday he will attend the 47th meeting of Foreign Affairs Ministers of the member states of the International Organization of La Francophonie. The extraordinary meeting has been convened to officially hear presentations from the candidates contesting the position of Secretary General of the OIF. It is the first time in the organization's history that such presentations have been organized, with each candidate set to present their vision of leading the organization ahead of the election scheduled for November this year. The election will take place during the Summit of Heads of State and Government in Cambodia. 4 candidates will present their bids for the position. The incumbent, Rwanda's Louise Mushikiwabo, will compete against candidates nominated by the DRC, Mauritania, and Romania. The successful candidates will serve as Secretary General for the next term that will run from 2027 to 2030. The President of the Senate, Dr. François-Xavier Kalinda, has stated that Parliament will work together with the government to encourage foreign countries to prosecute individuals suspected of participating in the genocide against the Tutsi who continue to hide within their borders. He has noted that failing to bring them to justice fuels genocide denial and the spread of genocidal ideologies. He made the remarks during the 32nd commemoration of former parliament employees who were killed during the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. During the event, the Senate President, together with the Speaker of the Chamber of Deputies, the Honorable Gertrude Kazarwa, unveiled a genocide against the Tutsi memorial monument erected at Parliament. The chairman of the Anti-Genocide Parliamentary Forum, Senator Jean-Pierre Dusingizemungu, observed that the monument will help deepen public understanding of the history of the genocide against the Tutsi. During the event, participants also highlighted gaps in teaching of Rwanda's history in many universities. They noted that many institutions do not have history departments, that no master's programs in history are currently offered, and that the PhD level, only 1 student is enrolled in the field. Participants expressed concern that if this situation persists, the country could face a shortage of qualified history lecturers in the future. Now, an international Christian relief and development organization known as Food for the Hungry has donated 45 cows to survivors of the genocide against the Tutsi in Bisesero, that's in Karongi district. The beneficiaries have welcomed the gesture, saying they expect the cows to further improve their livelihoods. And Nora Gladys with more on that.
Staff members of Food for the Hungry, an organization working for community development, first visited the Bisesero Genocide Memorial, where they were briefed about its history and the history of the genocide in this area. They also paid their tribute to the victims buried there. The director of programs at Food for the Hungry, Owitije Cyprien, explained that the purpose of the visit was to reflect on Rwanda's history and support Bisesero survivors on their shared journey with the government toward development.
We all came as staff to visit Bisesero Memorial and also take time to reflect on our history. And secondly, we wanted to support genocide survivors' families in Bisesero by giving them cows so that the frame of remembrance does not go out.
After visiting the Bisesero Memorial, Food for the Hungry staff donated 45 cows to genocide survivors. Before the genocide, they owned cows, but many were slaughtered or stolen by the Interahamwe militia, leaving them with nothing. After the genocide was solved, survivors in Bisesero say they have gradually received cows for the government and various individuals and organizations and have been able to rebuild their livelihoods. They now say they are better off and believe the cows received this Monday will further support their development.
During the genocide, they killed my 5 cows, but our government immediately supported us. I am taking good care of the cow I received today so that it will also help me and support me in the future.
The mayor of Karongi district, Muzungu Jared, thanked Food for the Hungry for this initiative, saying it aligns with the government's efforts to improve citizens' livelihoods.
This year alone, about 4 or 5 people or organizations have already donated cows. This is a very good initiative because 45 cows are worth over 60 million Rwandan francs, and they have a very positive impact on genocide survivors in general. We appreciate it. Besides that, we also appreciate that they take time to visit the memorial as it helps them understand how the genocide against the Tutsi was carried out and also learn lessons from it. Their support for genocide survivors is an added advantage because it complements government efforts, and it is a very good initiative.
The 45 cows donated by Food for the Hungry come in addition to about 70 cows that were donated last year during the 100 days of remembrance for genocide victims, as well as others donated in previous years. Survivors in Rusesero and local authorities say these contributions continue to improve the livelihoods of the beneficiaries.
The plenary sitting of the Chamber of Deputies has adopted a series of resolutions, including summoning the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources to provide an oral explanation on the challenges facing the agricultural sector. The Ministry of Trade and Industry will also be required to explain issues related to the processing of agricultural produce and access to markets. The resolutions were adopted during the approval of a report on oversight visits conducted by members of Parliament across the country in May and June. Enora Gladys continues.
From late May and early June, members of Parliament visited all districts across the country to assess the production of selected staple food crops as well as the export crops, coffee and tea. During the visits, residents raised concerns about the challenges affecting agricultural productivity and access to markets for their produce.
We have a market challenge where we as farmers are paid a price not exceeding 540 Rwandan francs, but when we go to buy it at the market, it is sold to us for between 1,500 and 1,600 Rwandan francs.
Members of Parliament say more efforts are needed to increase agricultural productivity and improve the efficiency of agricultural markets. Because it appears that in some places, production is increasing, while in others, it is decreasing. We would like to jointly examine what is causing production not to keep up with the rate of increase in the budget. Are there issues that could be identified and solved in advance so that the government does not continue to increase the agricultural budget while production remains unstable? We know very well that agriculture is one of the key pillars of our country's economy. While approving the report on the nationwide oversight visits conducted in May and June, the Deputy Speaker of the Chamber of Deputies, Honorable Uwineza Belin, say the responsible ministers will be summoned to appear before Parliament and provide oral explanations. After observing various issues identified during these public consultations, we also prepared a draft resolution for the General Assembly, following the analysis of challenges related to increasing agricultural production. We have a draft resolution for the Chamber of Deputies to invite the Minister of Agriculture and Animal Resources to provide oral explanations on the issues identified in agriculture. We also invite the Minister of Trade and Industry to provide oral explanations on issues related to the processing of some crops and finding markets for them. According to the National Institute of Statistics of Rwanda, the production of some crops increased while others declined when comparing season 2025A with season 2024A. Maize production declined from approximately 507,985 tons to 481,246 tons. Soybean production fell from 19,171 tons to 15,657 tons, while bean production decreased from 233,142 tons to 230,456 tons. By contrast, cassava production increased from 518,044 tons to more than 542,000 tons, while potato production rose from 460,830 tons to 475,785 tons. Enora Gladys, RwandaTV News.
Now, members of Parliament serving on the Public Accounts Committee have called on the Ministry of Education and its affiliated institutions to address persistent challenges affecting the quality of education here in Rwanda, including delays in delivery of textbooks to schools and the failure to fill vacant positions in a timely manner. And Gladys once more.
Members of the committee heard explanations from officials of the Rwanda Basic Education Board regarding issues surrounding textbooks, including the procurement process, their distribution and use in schools, as well as books that remain unused in storage. Lawmakers expressed concern that these challenges are undermining the quality of education. After reviewing previous reports, we found that there are over 186 books that were still missing in the 2023-2024 audit year. There were also 419 books that were missing in the 2022-2023 audit year. This is a recurring issue, indicating that what is reported as missing keeps changing. Sometimes are recovered, while others continue to disappear. The Director General of the Rwanda Basic Education Board, Dr. Nelson Barushimana, said measures have already been put in place to address the textbook-related challenges and expressed confidence that they will resolve the problem.
In this report, it was indicated that there were 780 books missing from different schools. I am now informing you that 645 of them have been recovered and 135 books are still in the process of being recovered. In most cases, the issue was related to book management, where school administrators and staff would lend out books but often fail to properly follow up to ensure they are returned. However, as a long-term solution to address this problem, there is a system currently being developed. Schools were previously using Excel sheets or different manual registers. The system being developed by REB will be launched in September and will help students request books and return them within a specified period.
The committee also noted that the University of Rwanda has implemented the recommendations issued by the Auditor General. The university's Vice-Chancellor, Professor Didas Kayihura Muganga, attributed the progress to effective teamwork.
First of all, it is about understanding and implementing the recommendations given by the Auditor General, as well as the advice we receive here in Parliament from members of Parliament when they analyze the issues that have occurred. It also involves the measures we commit to take and actually implement. I would also say that another positive aspect is the leadership, starting from the ministerial level, whether in the Ministry of Education or Minicofin, where we engage in frequent discussions about the nature of the problem. In general, we consult with various supporting institutions to understand the issue and find ways to resolve it.
A person of the Public Accountants Committee, Honorable Valence Muhakwa, commended institutions that have demonstrated good performance while urging those that are lagging behind to strengthen their efforts and address the shortcomings identified.
Regarding REB, we have observed that there are no significant visible positive changes so far. However, based on the challenges, recommendations and commitments they've made, we are confident that we will see improvements in the near future. When you look at these public hearings we are holding in general and compare them with the past 3 or 5 years, you can see that there have been improvements. These improvements may not be widespread across the board, but they are evident in some institutions.
The committee also urged the Ministry of Education to work closely with these agencies and affiliated institutions to resolve other outstanding challenges, including delays in the payment of staff, travel allowances, prolonged recruitment processes, delays in disbursing education funds to districts, and other operational issues.
Now, despite the creative sector's growing contribution to jobs and entrepreneurship, many young creators still struggle to access the financing needed to grow their businesses. Officials say the challenge goes beyond the availability of loans, pointing instead to limited financial literacy, weak business skills, and a lack of confidence to approach financial institutions. While addressing students of East African University Kigali campus, officials from the Ministry of Youth and Arts said that the ministry is strengthening financial literacy in secondary schools and universities, working with financial institutions to make financing more affordable and accessible to young entrepreneurs.
Kuko byagaragaye yuko abahanzi badakunda kugira uburyo bagera ku imari n'ubuhe buryo bashobora kuba babona inguzanyo ariko mu buryo buboroheye bitewe n'umwimerere w'akazi kabo. twabageneye rero uburyo bwo kubafasha kugira ngo bajye babona inguzanyo. Tugira gahunda yo kujya tubaganiriza wenda mu mahuro duhura nabo, aho duhura hose abahanzi, ariko
Now Martina Avera is slated to bring you the next edition of the news, so be sure to join her. Until you see me again, it is goodbye.